have more now on that breaking news we brought you at the top of the newscast. The Supreme Court now leaving the TikTok ban in place for now. Joining me to talk about this ruling here is constitutional law attorney David Cole. Good morning to you.
Morning.
All right, so we do have a little bit of this landmark case and a little bit of a snippet from it. I think we're going to put that up on the screen here. Where we're talking about what the ruling was. From that ruling, it says there is no doubt that for more than 170 million Americans, TikTok offers a distinctive and expansive outlet for expression, but Congress has determined that the divestiture is necessary to address its well-supported national security concerns regarding TikTok's data collection practices and relationship with a foreign adversary. You were just telling me it's a very well thought out decision.
Yeah, it's very thoughtful. I mean, the court says, we hear you. This is a serious issue of speech. That's a constitutional issue here, is free speech for millions of people. They express themselves. They have businesses and brands they've built up on TikTok. We get that. But the guarantee of free speech, the right to say what you want, is not a guarantee of a platform, of a forum. That's a matter of economic regulation, and Congress gets a lot of leeway to make this kind of decision about who can and can't do business in the United States.
So what happens now? This law is upheld. Is that it?
Well, all sorts of things are going to happen. The law's got a hard stop. January 19th, TikTok needs to either be sold or it needs to be shut down.
Okay.
But I suppose they could accept an offer, and that would probably delay things until that could be satisfied, or they can just sail on and go about trying to shut down enough to stay in compliance with the law and not be penalized while trying to keep the doors open.
Sure.
It's going to be a delicate situation. The ban doesn't mean that the government has no authority to just pull the plug. What the law does is it puts penalties in place on ByteDance and on people who do business with it. And that's where it gets complicated. Like Apple is going to have to drop it from the App Store because it could face substantial penalties if it continues to facilitate the access to the TikTok app.
And of course, Monday, Inauguration Day. So
yes.
President-elect Trump then will decide, or has the power to decide, whether to enforce the law.
Exactly. Separation of powers, right? Congress said, this is what we need to do. Here's a law. And now the president needs to go enforce it. And we were just talking about the penalties. There's a lot of things the new president can do. And if this isn't item 1 on his priority list, there's a lot of things that aren't item number 1. That just kind of slides on down there, and those penalties just sort of fall by the wayside. It's something within his discretion. But that's something that sounds good for you and me and for him. But if you're Apple or you're a vendor to TikTok and you're trying to decide what to do, or you're going to face $1 zillion in penalties, you've got to do something on Monday, even if President Trump signs an order that sounds good. And those are going to be hard decisions in a lot of places.
Well, you kind of talked about this a little bit. This is not just one of those platforms that people don't really, if they aren't familiar with TikTok, it's not a platform for just dance videos.
Right.
People have started and maintained businesses on TikTok that really depend on the platform.
Sure, I mean, people have brands that are, and they've cultivated them for years. They have followings, and they back and forth, and they sell things, and there are whole little ecosystems of activity that exist because of TikTok. Interestingly, if TikTok does go dark completely or substantially in the next couple of days, competitors are going to spring up. They've already sprung up. There's another Chinese company out there. And of course, Meta is out there saying, hey, you guys can come on over here. And so these people are going to fight very hard to go somewhere else. And that's going to in turn raise these same questions somewhere down the line.
So given what you've read in this decision, does today's decision, would it impact any other platform, as you just mentioned, that people would go to?
Well, it's focused on this particular law. The reason it rules for Congress in favor of the law here is that Congress has a lot of discretion in this area. But it emphasizes it's dealing with national security issues. If, for example, Meta emerged from this, an American corporation is the leading alternative, and everybody goes over to there, it would be a little bit different calculus, because a domestic company is a little bit different and Congress's interest is a little bit different. But it's a roadmap, it's a sketch for how you would go about analyzing it.
All right. David Cole, we appreciate your time and your analysis this morning.